In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we can build everything we need for a lead magnet or a freebie within GoHighLevel in 30 minutes. So I'm talking about the landing page that someone actually lands on in order to opt into your freebie, the form that someone needs to fill out in order to actually opt into that freebie again, the freebie itself, so the lead magnet, and then also the nurture sequence email that you may want to set up after someone has actually gone through and submitted the opt-in form for that lead magnet slash freebie. Okay, and we're going to be using AI to make this as efficient as possible and as easy as possible for ourselves in order to create this and get it out there. Okay, my name is Isaac Nichols, and it is my goal to make coaching easy using GoHighLevel. So let's hop into this video, and I'm going to show you exactly how we can do everything I just said in 30 minutes. Start the clock. Let's go. Okay, so to put together everything we need for this lead magnet, that's going to be the funnel itself, the form that someone opts into, the lead magnet itself, as well as a nurture sequence that would go out to someone after they've actually opted in. I'm going to be using three main tools. The first one, GoHighLevel, of course, because we're going to be building this within GoHighLevel. The second thing is going to be Claude. Claude is an AI tool. If you haven't heard of it, it is very similar to ChatGPT, but it is so much better at generating content and copy, as well as coding things like web pages. Okay, so if you are using ChatGPT right now, this is your call to go ahead and change to Claude. It's a very similar pricing, but it can do a whole lot more. So that's CLAUDE.ai, and you can sign up for Claude. I promise you, it will absolutely change the way you start generating content. The last thing we're going to be using, the third thing, is I have actually pre-built prompts to use for Claude to make this entire process of generating a landing page, generating the lead magnet itself, as well as the email nurture sequence as easy as possible. So I've spent hours and hours refining this prompt, or these lists of prompts to generate these assets that you can actually go ahead and pick up yourself down below this video. Now, before I crack on with the rest of this video, I just wanted to let you know, if you are a coach, consultant, or therapist who is going through using GoHighLevel to run your business, but you're finding that it's a little bit confusing, you don't know how to get things done, you don't know how to get things done efficiently, and you just want a community of coaches, consultants, and therapists who all have the same goal in common with a lot more support than what GoHighLevel offers by itself, then feel free to book a call down below. We offer a ton of support, twice a week drop-in calls that you can come to, as well as workshops that we run all the time to help people really build out the coaching system that they want to build out. So if that is at all interesting to you, especially as we go through something like this is what our community has access to, talks about all the time. So if you want to go ahead and join a community which uses GoHighLevel, that is dedicated to helping coaches succeed using GoHighLevel, then feel free to book a call below and check out what we have to offer as a community that uses GoHighLevel. So the very first thing we can think about when we're actually creating this is we do actually need to still build something out inside of GoHighLevel. So the first thing you can think about is, well, the form that someone's opting into, that's going to be the key piece really, because someone actually needs to opt in the form. Then we have the landing page itself. So then we need to create that funnel. The third main asset we need to create in GoHighLevel is the nurture sequence, which would be done in an automation. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into sites, I'm going to go into forms, I'm going to just first build that form that someone's actually going to opt into. Now I'm going to be doing all of this in my own client's account. They've given me permission to go through and put together this sequence within their own account. But what I'm going to do here is add form, and I'm going to create it from scratch. So I'm going to create here. Now, since this is a lead magnet and really I'm just going for email, I'm going to first get rid of phone. I don't want phone. I can get rid of that message, and I can get rid of privacy policy and terms and conditions. Another thing I typically do is, by default, the form will come with some shadows and some curved edges. I don't like that, especially when we put it on a new page, and I'll show you kind of in a little bit, that will probably make more sense. But I'm going to go into styles and options here. And I'm going to go into advanced. I'm going to get rid of that shadow firstly. You can see the shadow's gone, now it's just blank. The next thing I'm going to do within here is, if I go back into styles, I want to reduce the padding on the side here, because I want to have more customization over this in the actual landing page itself, not on the form. So I'm going to get rid of all the padding associated with this form. I also want to repeat that for mobile mode, because it comes with quite a lot of padding on the side. I'm going to remove that down to 0, remove that down to 0, remove that down to 0 there. Awesome. Now we have our form. So the first thing I might do is I might change the color of this button to match the actual branding of my business that I'm going to be using. So colors of background, go into here, and I don't have the exact code right now, but it's quite similar to this. This will work for now, but obviously if you have the exact code color, that's going to be perfect. The last thing I want to do here is name this form. So just for simplicity of this video, I'm going to be calling this lead magnet test form. And I'm going to save this. Okay. So that's the first piece. We have the actual form. The next thing I can do is I can go into my funnels, because now I can actually create the funnel system, or just like the back end of the funnel that someone's going to go through. And just for like super simplicity, you can get really advanced with how many steps you have in this. You can do upsells, but right now I'm just looking at a landing page. You put some text on there, you tell them what this is all about, and then there's going to be a page where they're actually opting into this lead magnet that we're going to build using AI. So what I'm going to do here is create a funnel from scratch. And again, I'm going to call this lead magnet funnel test. Maybe I'll call it test funnel. And I'm going to create this. So I'm creating this completely from scratch here. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create the actual steps in this. So I'm going to add a new step. I'm going to call this, you would call it specific to your lead magnet. So the path, for example, would be like your domain / then something that's relevant to your specific lead magnet that you have in your mind so far. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to name this page something like, then obviously you would rename it more specific to what your actual lead magnet is. But the path here, this is what is actually going to show up at the end of the URL. So you can imagine yourdomain.com / this here. So this is a little bit more important because it's going to be what the actual person sees. So I could put in here something like, just for this video here, I'm going to put landing page text. Now I'm going to create the second page for this, which is going to be where we're actually going to have the lead magnet. And I'll kind of explain a little bit more why we're creating a specific page for the lead magnet itself. But here I can do something like, but this is actually going to be the lead magnet that we're offering. So in here, I can call this something like lead magnet. Again, you probably won't call this lead magnet. If yours is like, a 5-step burnout, or you have something in your mind, you could call it something more related to that. But because I don't have one in mind right now, I'm actually going to let AI come up with what I want to put in here. I'm not putting anything specific. Then what I can do here is I can connect to my domain. So if I go in settings, I'm going to connect my domain here. So this is going to be my client's domain, and I am going to save this funnel. So now you can think about it. We have the form that someone's opting into, and then we have the funnel itself. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to start using these prompts and Claude together to start generating first the lead magnet, then the landing page, then the emails itself. Now, the really cool thing about Claude is we can first give it all the information about our business to help come up with some sort of brand guide, and then have it come up with a lead magnet based on everything it knows about your business. So what I'm actually going to do here is if I go into my prompts here, the very first prompt is to create a brand guide. What I'm going to do is copy this entire prompt. I am going to go into Claude and I'm going to paste that prompt. Now, to help it understand more about my business, I can go ahead and I can fill out all of these different pieces, these pieces with brackets, so I can make it, very specific to my business. I can go through and do that. Or to simplify this for myself, I can go to my actual website. So I'm going to go to my client's website right now, and I'm literally just going to copy all the information I can get from the website. So this coach right here is a coach that does alcohol freedom coaching. So all I'm doing here is literally taking all the content on the website and I'm pasting it. And you'll see we'll add as little folders down there, but I'm going to go now to the about page. I'm going to copy everything from the about page. I'm just pasting here. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm pasting, but because the text is quite large, it's adding as kind of little folders down here. I'm going to go to the services, because even the services can provide context as to what we offer, everything that we do. So I'm just taking all of this information and I am pasting it into here. Sometimes if it's smaller text, it will actually paste into, but you can understand that the Claude will figure out, what's part of the prompt and what information you're actually providing. So again, I'm going to provide all of this last page here. I am going to paste that. And now I am going to launch that. So while Claude's going ahead and it's developing my brand guide based on that prompt that I gave it, I am now going to go back into GoHighLevel. Because what I want to do now is, while Claude is going ahead and generating a brand guide, I can think in the back of my head, what is the next thing that we actually want to do? And the next thing is going to be to generate the lead magnet. Now, in this prompt that I have created, the way this works is it will create a very interactive lead magnet. So instead of just like a PDF or just a video, what this will do is actually create a lead magnet, which is interactive, where they can pick and choose choices, use scales, and come up with a specific result based on how they answer these questions. So it's a really interactive kind of way of creating a lead magnet. But you can go ahead, you can customize this, you can use this for inspiration to generate a really cool lead magnet. But what we can do is, if you can imagine, someone's asking questions, but then you want to actually grab their email and name at some point. What we can do in here is say, here is my form that I have in GoHighLevel. Here's the code to my form. Embed it in this lead magnet that you create, such that someone has to actually submit this form in order to see the results. And that's exactly what this prompt will do. So if I go back into GoHighLevel here, I'm in Sites. I'm going to go back to that form that we created. And I'm going to go down. There it is. Now, instead of actually putting this on a landing page, I'm going to grab the embedded form. So I'm going to click Integrate in the top, and I'm going to copy embedded form. I'm going to go back into my prompt, and you'll see prompt part in here, insert form script. So what I've done to really refine these prompts is I've worded it in a way to say, make sure that they have to submit this form here before they get to some sort of results page when building this lead magnet. Now, there's a lot of other different things that is considered in this specific prompt. So this is prompt number 2 to actually generate that lead magnet. And there are a lot of customizable fields. So if you want to actually tell it what we're building here, so the type of lead magnet, the title of it, where to send them at the end. So for example, call to action at the end. If my client has a book a call page, for example, and I want them to go to, so let me find their book a call page. Book a complimentary discovery call. This is the URL that I want to send them to after they've actually submitted the lead magnet. What I'm going to do is go back into our prompt here, and I'm going to edit it quickly. I'm going to say call to action after submission. Where do I want them to go? I'm going to say book a call, and I'm going to give it the link here. So I want them to go to here after they've submitted the lead magnet. So all of this is kind of really customizable, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the rest. I'm going to let the AI figure out the rest. I'm going to really leave it open, but if you have something very specific in mind, you can also insert, where there are brackets within this prompt, you can insert like really specific information. If I come back into Claude now, I see it has come up with a total brand guide based on the content that I've provided. Now, if you have more content to give it, the more the better. But what I can do now is go back into Claude. Now I'm going to take that prompt that I just copied from the Google Docs there. I'm going to paste it into Claude. So it's now come up with our brand guide. I'm now going to feed it this new prompt to generate the lead magnet. But before I do that, I also want it to go ahead and understand what my website looks and feels like. So what I can do now is I'm going to give it a couple of pictures of my website. So here's my homepage. Or my client's homepage, I should say. I'm going to literally just take some snippets of my page so it has a vibe of the colors that I use, and if I use like square boxes and everything like that. So I'm literally just right now using the snippet tool, and I am creating snippets of my website. So you may not be able to see what I'm doing there in the back end, but what I've literally done there is I've created a snippet. I am copying that snippet. I'm going back into Claude, and with this prompt, I am just pasting Control V, and I'm adding that image. I'm going to go back into the website, and I'm going to find a different place to take an image, maybe here, because we have some of the gray in the back as well. So I'm going to take a new snippet. So I'm literally just screenshotting my page here. That's all I'm doing. I'll clone that. Sorry, I'll copy that, and then I'll put it into Claude again. And I'll do one more. So maybe I'll go into the services page and kind of give it a different vibe. So I'll take that and I'm going to do one more snippet just so I can understand a little bit about what my website looks and feels like. So now I have a couple of images. It's going to be able to pick up the colors that I'm using. And then I have that prompt. So now I am going to submit this into Claude and let it do its thing. Now what we can do is while Claude is going on, I'm going to go back into GoHighLevel. And now I'm going to do a couple of things on this landing page that we've created, or the funnel that we've created. So if I go back in our sites, funnels, what I'm now going to do, if I find that funnel that we were putting together, lead magnet test funnel, I'm going to click in here. What I'm going to do here is, because we're going to generate code, not just for the lead magnet itself, but also for the landing page, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do this. If you don't want to go in and build out all of this stuff and GoHighLevel, I'm going to create the lead magnet test opt-in page from blank. So I'm going to create from blank. I'm going to drag in full width. I'm going to add a row, and I'm going to add code. Now, one thing that's pretty important here is you want to make sure that in all of these elements, so like the section, the row, the column, we want to take away the padding here, because we're going to let the code figure all of that stuff out. So then I'm going to go into row. I'm going to reduce this down to 0. I'm just going to 0 everything here in the margins, or sorry, the padding. And then lastly, the column. I'm going to set everything to 0. Now I also want to make sure this works on mobile as well. So when I go into mobile, yep, everything, oh, there's that one. You just need to make that 0 as well. Perfect. So I'm going to save that. I'll also publish while I'm here. Now I'm going to go into the next page, and I'm literally going to do the exact same thing. So what I can also do here is, to simplify my life, is I can go back and I can use an existing page. There's the funnel that I'm working on. There's the one I just created where I set up the code piece. I'm going to use that and I'm going to import it. So what I'm doing is basically cloning this page and using it here by using an existing page that I've already created. Now what we can do is go into edit this lead magnet page, because what Claude is doing right now is it's generating our lead magnet. So I want to add that lead magnet into here. So I'm going to click edit here. Now if I go back into Claude, you can see here it's still going away. It's actually building the code for this lead magnet. And this is where Claude really is standalone to ChatGPT. ChatGPT will not be able to develop this kind of code for you. I've tried it. I've tried to go through this exercise with ChatGPT, and it is just not the same. So I promise you, if you're using ChatGPT, try out Claude for at least a month, and I promise you'll never go back to ChatGPT. Let me see here. So what we're going to be doing here is, once this is complete and it's completed the code, we're going to paste the code into this code element on the lead magnet page. So I'm going to open the code editor to get this ready as Claude finishes this up. Okay, so typically it will give you a bit of a preview on here, but what I'm going to do is copy this right here. I'm going to go into GoHighLevel. I'm now going to paste that code. So it came up with 1,000 lines of code right there, and I'm going to save this. And I am going to publish this page. Now there is one thing we do actually need to do within the form to make this code work, because one of the things that is a little bit tricky when we embed the form itself into this page is, when they submit the form, it's important that the code's able to pick that up and then take them through to the results page without any issues. So what I've been able to do, and you can figure this out too if you want to try and go through, keep prompting in order to get it to figure this out, to actually get to the point where it submits the form and takes them to the results, because they're two separate codes. But what I've done within this prompt, and if you go ahead and pick it up, you'll be able to see this perfectly. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the web URL to this lead magnet test, or the lead magnet page itself. I'm going to go into forms, and I'm going to go to that form that we've created. And then I'm going to go into settings, and on submit, instead of a message, I'm going to open a URL. I'm going to open the same URL that the form's going to be on, but what we're going to do here is we're going to add this little bit at the end. Submitted equals true. So it's a question mark, then submitted equals true. Now, the way the prompt works is it will say, when they submit that form, set this as the redirect page, and then the code will understand that that means we need to take them to the results page. So this works really, really well here. And I'm going to save this. Now, when I go back to the funnel and I go into my lead magnet test funnel, I'm going to go into that lead magnet page again. I'm going to go edit. So here is the code that I have just uploaded into here. So what I can do now to test this out, to see how it looks, to see what it came up with, I'm going to go back to our overview. I'm going to take this code. I'm going to paste it in a new tab. Now look at this. This is pretty cool for a lead magnet. It's not just a quiz, but it is like, firstly, it's branded, but it's also way more interactive. So look at this. I'm going to go through and actually answer these questions here. There's a little bit of a slider, and it's all based on the actual business that I prompted it with. So my client here. So I'm going to select some of these, continue, another slider, some more multiple choice, some more multiple choice, get my results. And here we have that form that we created. So this is where we prompt the AI to say, here's the form. Don't let them see the results until they've gone ahead and submitted the information. So that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to go ahead, fill out this form and click submit. And then it is going to take you to the results page down here. So you're ready to discover what's possible, your key insights, your strength, your immediate action plan. Now down here, we have a little spiel, ready to accelerate your transformation. Here's the call to action. Now, if I click this, it is actually going to take them to that book a call page that I gave it earlier. Okay, so this is really cool. And if you are having any issues with the actual lead magnet, you see any minor issues, sometimes you get a couple, literally just go back into Claude and say, hey, I noticed this and this, please fix the code, and it will probably do it within one iteration. I found that using these prompts, it either takes, immediate or one iteration, and it is really good. Okay, so now we've actually got our lead magnet. Now what we can do is go back into Claude, and we can now take this next prompt, because now I want to actually generate a couple of images. So what you can also do within this prompt series is you can create prompts that will actually submit into Midjourney, which is a different image AI generation tool. Now, you don't have to do this part if you just want to go into Canva and find your own images. But what we're going to do here is actually generate a before and after image using Midjourney, which is another AI generation tool. You can use any kind of image generation tools like DALL-E or anything like that, but Midjourney is so good for this, and it is relatively cheap to use. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this prompt number 3, which is going to generate 2 images that I can use on my landing page, a before image and an after image. So I'm going to go back into Claude and I'm going to paste that prompt in here. Now, what the prompt is going to do is it's actually going to help us generate a prompt to use in something like Midjourney, something like DALL-E, a different AI generation for images. So I'm going to submit this prompt here. Now, the cool thing about when you start prompting, you can kind of learn to bounce back and forth, because now what I can be, starting to think about is, okay, well, at some point we need to create the automation for this. So while the AI is kind of going on in the background and starting to put things together, I'm going to go into automation and I'm going to create the nurture sequence that someone's going to get after they have submitted that form. Or I'm going to at least begin to build it, because I'm going to let the AI figure out how many emails to send, how to space them out. So what I'm going to do here is go into automation, create workflow, start from scratch. And I'm going to call this just the trigger for this workflow, if you're familiar with building workflows that are like nurture sequences, what we're saying is form, because the trigger here is going to be that a form is being submitted. I'm going to add a filter because I want to say the form is, and it's going to be the form that we've just created, that we embedded into that lead magnet. I'm going to save this trigger here. Then what we're going to do is start our email nurture sequence. So the first action I'm going to do here is send email. However, we don't have the content for this email yet. So I'm literally just going to put placeholders in here for the subject line and the from message. And I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this for now. We don't know how, often these emails are going to send or how many emails, the AI is going to come up with. So I'm just going to leave this for now. And I'm going to go back into Claude. I'm going to see what it came up to. Okay, so here you see it's come up with two prompts, the before image and the after image that we're going to use on the landing page for this specific landing page for this lead magnet. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the first prompt. I'm going to then go into Midjourney. So if you have not used Midjourney, Midjourney is basically an image AI generation tool, which creates really photorealistic images. There are other tools like DALL-E, and I think ChatGPT can do it too, but Midjourney is relatively cheap for what it is, and it can come up with some really cool pictures. So I'm literally just copying that prompt and I'm putting it in here. And the way it puts together these prompts, the prompts that I've actually gone ahead and refined, is we want a before and after, but we want the person to look very similar. We don't want two different people in the before and after. So it's going to go ahead and based on this prompt, it's going to generate a before person. I am then going to get the second prompt ready. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go into Midjourney. I'm going to wait for this to generate first. So you can see here in the prompt itself, it has showing exhaustion, business attire, because we're targeting business women here, overwhelmed expression. And again, if any of these need a little bit of refining, because I can see here from their expressions, they're not particularly overwhelmed looking. They're a little bit, maybe relaxed. So we want them to be a little bit more overwhelmed. You can definitely go ahead and tweak these prompts. The idea is that they are very good for generating them, but they may just need like a secondary tweak. Okay, now do it this way, etc., etc. Now what I can do is submit the second prompt. And what I'm going to do, because I didn't like that first image it created, I'm going to actually re-prompt that with that first one and see if it can give me something a little bit better, because none of these look overwhelmed, bags under the eyes. But you can see here, the after images are starting to look really good. So I'm going to prompt the first one again. I'm going to let these start generating in the background. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to get the next prompt ready. So the next prompt here is for the landing page itself. So I want it to create a landing page. And you'll see here, there are a couple of placeholders that we're going to submit. So if I go ahead and get this prompt ready, you'll see here, we have somewhere to upload a logo, somewhere to upload the before image, and somewhere to upload the after image. So what I'm going to do is go back into GoHighLevel, and first I'm going to grab the logo. So if I go into media storage, I'm going to go ahead and find their logo somewhere. Here's the logo. So I'm going to get the link. Actually, this one has a transparent background here. So let's use this one here. I'm going to get the link to it. And I am going to paste it in the logo field here. This is all part of the prompt. I'm giving it the PNG for my logo. Now, if I come back into Midjourney, here's our after pictures, which look great. So you can kind of find which one you think works well. I think this one's probably the most subtle. So I'm going to download this one here. This one probably looks the most, I know it didn't really create new ones here, but this one probably looks the most overwhelmed and fitting the theme. But again, because I'm trying to do this quickly, I just want to show you that you can go ahead, edit these prompts. If you want to see it do something a little bit, more specific, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to click into this one here, and I'm going to download this one. So these have downloaded into my computer, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually upload these into my media storage library. So if we go into downloads, I'm now going to drag and drop both of these into here. There they are. So I'm going to get the before image, which is this one here. So get link. I'm going to paste that into the before, and I'm going to get the after image. I'm going to get the link. I'm going to put it in the after placeholder. What we'll also need to do within this prompt, so we've given it the 3 images, the logo, the before image, and the after image, is there's one more thing we need to do, because this is going to be the first page within our funnel. We need to tell it what page the button, so the call to action button, where does that need to take them? And what it needs to do is it needs to take them to the lead magnet page. So I'm going to go back into that funnel that we've created. We have our 2 pages here. Right now, we're developing the code for this landing page. When they click the button, I want them to be taken to this page here. So I'm going to copy this URL, and in the prompt, you'll notice CTA, so call to action destination. When someone clicks the call to action buttons, they should go to, and I'm going to paste that in here. So now I'm going to go ahead and let this prompt go, and I'm going to let this start coding out our landing page. So what I can do while this is going ahead is I can go back into our prompt list here, and I can then go ahead and check out what is the next prompt, because you can kind of start thinking ahead as that's going ahead, building out the next prompt. It's starting to use the tools. What I'm going to do here is go onto our last prompt, which is going to be to create the email sequence. So what this is going to do is it's going to create 8 email nurture sequences based on the lead magnet that you've just created and based on the landing page that you've just created. The only thing you really need to tell it is what do you want someone to do at the end of the sequence. So for most people, it could be book a call, for example. It could be to join a program. It could be to purchase a product. And you can see here in our prompt list, we've highlighted all the areas that you can go ahead and customize and fill in your own information. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just leave it as book a call. I want someone to go ahead and book a call in this email nurture sequence when we get to the end. Now I could touch on what is, the discovery call, who's it's for, what they'll get, next steps. This is more important if you're sending them to a course, for example, or like a community. But the rest here, it is going to build 8 nurture email sequences, and it's going to provide a ton of value up front before it actually goes into call to action. Now you can edit any of these prompts if you want to, do 10, if you want to do 15 emails, you can definitely do this. But one of the really cool things about this prompt here is it will use GoHighLevel's custom fields in the email itself. So instead of you having to go in and find all the custom fields again for first name for each email, it is actually inside the prompt. So use the GoHighLevel custom field when you're actually generating these emails. So once you've kind of gone through and edited this prompt as much as you want to, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back into Claude. And you see now it's already done. So it has literally put together a landing page for me. And you can see here some of the images haven't uploaded yet because I'll have to actually copy it in. But right now this looks really, really good. And there's a few call to actions that actually used my testimonials from my page and added them to this landing page as well. And there's quite a lot in here. So this is really, really good. I'm now going to give it the next prompt because I'm happy with this. I'm going to give it the next prompt to generate those emails. So I'm going to submit that, and I'm going to copy this here. So I'm copying the code that it generated. I'm going to go back into GoHighLevel, and I'm now going to put this into our test opt-in page. So I'm going to edit this. I'm going to go into this code. Now this code's going to be empty, and I'm going to paste it in here. So again, it generated 1,000 lines of code. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to publish this. So what I can do now is if I go back and I want to see, okay, how does this look? And by the way, in the prompt as well, it is optimized for mobile as well as desktop. So you can also check this out on your phone, but here is my page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open it up. Okay, it looks like I accidentally gave it the same image for before and after, which was my mistake. So what I can do here is let me grab the after image. Go back into sites. So you can also kind of mess around with these codes directly, because I'll have a decent idea of where to go ahead and change that if I go into back in our funnel. So I accidentally gave it the before image twice when generating this, but I'm going to go back into here and I'm going to edit the code directly. So I'm going to edit this. So here is the after. There we go. So that's working now. And if I take a scroll on here, you can see this looks really, really good. Now, again, if there are a few tweaks that you want to make, you can definitely go ahead and have it make a few tweaks. That is completely fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this button to make sure that's working. So when I click this button, it should take me into the lead magnet. Perfect. And again, when you submit this, it's going to take you to the form, and then you can submit the form. So that's all working perfectly. Now I can go back into Claude and I can see how it's getting on with our emails. It looks like it is finishing up here, or just finished. Okay, it has. So it's generated all of our emails here. Obviously, you would want to go through and read those emails and take a look at them, make sure they're, what you want them to be. But for the purpose of this video, I am now going to start adding these into our nurture sequence. So I'm going to go to the top here. I'm now going to go back into GoHighLevel. I'm going to go into automation. I'm going to find that automation that we were just working on. There it is. I'm going to go into Claude because I want to see how often they're spaced apart. So email 1, here we go. So I'm also just going to add those titles into the action name just so I know what's going on here. It should come up with a subject. So there's the subject. And then the email itself. So I'm going to add this email here. And if you do take the time to read these emails, I promise you, they are significantly better than what you have probably generated with ChatGPT. So obviously I may need to go ahead and make a few edits to these emails. Some of the spacing might not be good when I add things. So that's really where a lot of this time is coming from, but I can now save this action and I can get the next one. So this one's going to be 24 hours after. So this is going to be a wait 1 day. So I'm going to wait 1 day. I'm going to add in the 1 day wait step here. And then I'm going to send email. I'm going to rename it, and then I'm going to grab the subject line and the actual email here. So obviously this is the most tedious part because we actually have to copy and paste everything in and format it. So I'm going to speed up the video here and quickly get all of these emails in for the 8 different emails we have. Okay, so I've just got to the end of creating that email nurture sequence that had 8 emails in it. But obviously this is a little bit more tedious, and I say do it in 30 minutes, and then obviously you spend 20 minutes going through and creating this automation. But I'm talking here more just about the general assets and content to create it. Obviously this part gets a little bit tedious and I sped it up. But one of the things that's really, really cool too here that the Claude came up with is in the last email here, when I told it to do a book a call to action, it actually embedded the link and it actually used it in that last email there. It actually embedded that link. So I literally could just copy and paste it. Yeah, I had to reformat some of the text, but it had that link already in there like that. So now I can go ahead and publish this. I can save this workflow, and I've now put together everything I need for this lead meeting. So now what I can do is I can test this out. So I can go back to my landing page. So I can go to my test page. And again, if you see a couple of things off, you can go back, re-prompt it, give it a few more, pieces of information, tell it what you don't like, tell it what to change. And now you can go ahead and test this out, because once they go ahead and take this assessment, submit the form, we now have this automation, which is triggered from that form submission, and they'll now go ahead and get that email sequence. If you stick around to the end and watch this entire video, kudos to you, because we went through a lot, but I really do believe that using Claude will take your business to the next level. And if you still want access to those prompts, they're down below. You can get them whenever you want. And if you do or are interested in some extra support and want to be around other coaches using GoHighLevel and to be in a community of coaches where we have weekly calls and workshops where we build out the exact things that you want to build out, then go ahead and book a call with us down below, because I promise you, if you're kind of on the edge or you like what we've been talking about in our videos, then it may very well change your business for the better by joining a community of like-minded coaches who just want a lot more support in using GoHighLevel to make their coaching businesses really come alive. Okay, so go ahead and check that out. But as always, if you did find this video helpful, feel free to subscribe, feel free to put a thumbs up. Really, at the end of the day, I'm trying to make this information as accessible as possible to coaches that are using GoHighLevel.